You are soaring flight of imagination, saturated in the movable. Removable, no excuses. You're breaking all the rules. You are brew, composed in shea butter, peppermint and honey black soap. Nas lifeline inscribed in palm, unconventional, standing 20 feet tall. You are 1969 in the syncopated. Improvisation to the metronome. You chasse too. You allow your voice to ripen before time signatures expire in measures. You origami chords. You are where 30 shakes hands with adolescents realizing you just hit puberty. Watch as red clay seeps through pores building pyramids past prime. You are prime at 44. All brass, double bass, two drummers, three electric pianos, and percussionists all saying forget it at once.
Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. Happy New Year. It is officially 2026. And I'm trying to wrap my brain around the fact that it is officially 2026. My mouth doesn't want to say 2026, but we are here and I am so glad to be sharing space with you all today because today is a very special day that we are going to be sharing with you. And I cannot wait to talk about it more. But before we do so, look here, get your people in the room. Y'all already know what this is, right? If y'all not new, tag your people, get them in the room, right? We're starting 2026 off strong. We want to make sure that we are creating opportunities to turn our messages into movements, and Bird's World is the place where we are going to get it done, right? So for those of you all who do not know me, it's your girl, Heather Bird here, visionary, founder, CEO of Bird's Word Publishing, where we are on a mission to empower individuals, especially 1,000 women of color, to write and publish their brilliance so they can turn their messages into movements. And today, I am so excited to invite you all to the All About Our Liberation podcast, episode 4. And this is the space where we are working collectively, right, to create space to reclaim and rebuild our way back home. This podcast has been inspired by the upcoming anthology that we're working on, and we are extending the conversation so that we can transform not only on the page, but in person, right? Together, we are creating permission to write, to rest, and to remember who we were before the world got its hands on us. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about what that looks like because, like I said, today is a special day. So get your people in the room, right? Tag, share, and make sure to leave a comment. Let us know that we're here. We can see you in the comment section, right? Let us know where you are coming from so that we can be in conversation with you, right? I see you, JR Mackey is already here. What's up, y'all? Happy anniversary. Yes. Happy anniversary to you too. I see Francis Harris. Happy 2026. I am so glad that you are here. Look, Chi-Town is in the building. Our Chi-Town crew, we're starting to grow. It's no joke. East Coast was taking over for a really long time, and they are still very strong. But Chicago, we coming for you, right? Because we are national, international with this, right? But before we get started, I want to make sure that I send a special shout out to the network that has made this opportunity possible for us to be in conversation with each other. When I started to think about just the project that we're working on, All About Our Liberation, I don't even think it was my idea. We'll talk about that even later, right? Like collectively, we started talking about this idea of what it looks like. And it wasn't until I think 2 years later before it sank in for me the influence and the conversations that were necessary. And so to think about how this anthology has now expanded into this conversation for a podcast and for the female network, Female Solution Network to believe in what I am bringing to the table means so much to me. So I would love for you to learn a little bit more about the Female Solution. I'm going to play a quick commercial and then we will be back while this commercial is playing, make sure you're listening so that you know what we about, and get your people in the room. I'm gonna say it again. Get your people in the room. Tag them. Bring them on in. Let's have some fun. See y'all in like 30 seconds.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
Yes, and we are back. So, shout out to all the women who are part of the Female Solution. You will see some of the shows that are actually available. We have podcast shows that are happening every day of the week, either 7 a.m. in the morning or 7 p.m. in the evening. There has been an expansion in 2025, and the level of conversations that are happening, we need to be able to have those within our community. So, make sure y'all check out the Female Solution on Facebook and on our YouTube page. And you will see all the information there. If you have any questions, feel free to hop into my DMs or comment, and I will definitely get back to y'all. Right. So we are here, and I am feeling all of the excitement. It hasn't sunk in yet what we're celebrating today. But I think I'm starting to feel it now. I think it's starting to land. And so, what I would love for us to be able to do collectively is before each episode, I want to be able to create a space where we can pause, where we can ground, and we have the chance to honor our ancestors and all of their wisdom. And the ways in which we do that is through humming, right? So, if you are new, feel free to like just get yourself situated. And wherever you are, if you have a chance to plant your feet on the ground, please do so. And if you feel comfortable enough, I would invite you all to close your eyes. If not, you can just lower your gaze. And I want us to just take note of our bodies. We move so quickly throughout our days that we don't take note of what our bodies are saying to us on a regular basis. And so just take note of where the butterflies might be, where the nerves might sit, where the tension might be in your shoulders or your neck or your legs or your hands. And what we're going to do is we're going to breathe together. We're going to do a regular inhale and exhale out through our mouths. And then the last three breaths that we're going to take are going to be hums. The exhales are going to be hums. And you want to be able to send that hum to the part of your body that needs it the most, whether it is a hug, whether it is a high five, whether it is a melting away of the stress that you have been experiencing, right? So collectively, no matter where you are, people look at you funny, have them join on in because they probably need a little breath and humming too, right? So let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in, y'all. And let's exhale out through our mouth. Inhale in. And hum out. Inhale in. And hum out. And then one last time, let's take a nice deep breath in together. And fill up the room with a nice, big, deep hum out. And whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. And as you are with us today, one of the things that I love to be able to do is open our space up with a quote. And today's quote is actually one that you hear often. I don't know if people actually think about or contribute, attribute, that's the word I'm looking for, attribute it to who has brought that's this language right into space. And so today's quote is actually by June Jordan. And the quote that I am bringing forth, right, was actually coined by the influential political activist and poet June Jordan on August 9th, 1978, right, as she read her Poem for South African Women, which was delivered at the United Nations in honor of South African women protesting apartheid, emphasizing self empowerment and grassroots action, right? I want this quote to be able to ground us in the practice of us slowing down enough to name what we know and give thanks to those who have brought this to us. So the quote for today is, "We are the ones we have been waiting for." That is something that we hear so often. And it is a quote that moves us forward a lot, right? Instead of waiting on other people to come save us, we are the ones we've been waiting for to hold us, to allow us to just be, to set us up so that we can be our best selves, right? So I want you to think about the quote, "We are the ones we have been waiting for." And if you are brave, feel free to share in the chat. When you think about this quote, right? What comes to mind for you? What does this quote embody? Right? So again, the quote is, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." Hmm. That sits with me differently. Y'all gonna find out why. And I would love for you all to share in the chat or just even think about for a little bit. When you think about that quote, what comes to mind? How is it embodied? So while y'all think about this quote for a little bit, I'm going to have a quick commercial break. We'll be back in 1 minute. That'll give you a chance to kind of mull over that question. And I am excited because you all will get the opportunity to learn more about some of the spaces that the Female Solution is providing for you all throughout the week. So I will be back in about a minute and some change. Grab your glass of water, grab your tea, grab maybe not your coffee because you might be up all night. But grab something to sip on, right? Grab a little snack because we're about to dive all the way in here when we get back. Y'all are in for a treat. So we'll be back in just 1 minute. See y'all soon.
What's up, guys? It's Osada, the host of the Gathering of the Griots podcast, part of the Female Solution. Want you to join us every Tuesday morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And guess what we do? We interview authors of the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. The books, the experiences, the lifestyles, all of it with fervor. So be there right on the Soulful Chicago Book Fair YouTube page or on the Female Solution Facebook page. We look forward to having you and all our literary essence. Peace.
Welcome to Master Force with Mushim Suit. Join us each week on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central, live on Facebook and YouTube on the Female Solution page, as we dive into powerful topics designed to assist you in mastering your life force. Our conversations feature a diverse lineup of experts, all dedicated to your growth. Tune in weekly to discover new ways to elevate your spirit and raise your vibration. And remember, we are ascending.
And we're back. And if y'all didn't get a chance to get warmed up until now, y'all got just like a couple more seconds. I'm gonna need for y'all to get your hands ready. We're gonna be typing in this chat. We're gonna be interactive because this is not just a one-way conversation, y'all. We are going to be diving in and bringing our guests to the stage. So, if you are just now joining us, I want to be able to welcome you to the All About Our Liberation podcast. This is officially episode 4, where we have the opportunity to celebrate 3 years of transforming not only on the page, but in person. And my word, it has been a journey, right? This podcast as a whole came out of this space. Like I can actively claim that this podcast was born out of the space we are getting ready to talk about, right? And so collectively what we're doing, we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to remember, to reclaim, and to rebuild our way back home. So again, get your people in the room because now it is time to welcome our guests to the stage. There's a good chance I might cry today. I'm just going to fair warning to all of y'all, right? Because these women, along with so many others that you all do not see, have had their hands firmly at my back, at my side, have been pulling me along, so lovingly repeating the messages that I need to hear over and over and over again. These women have believed in me in moments that I have not believed in myself. It just happens at times. We have those moments where other people can see a vision sometimes a little bit clearer than you can on some days. And other times you're like, y'all, let's go, right? So when I think about who is with me today and who you all might see in the comment section in the background, who you don't see at all, the collective has shown up and shown out and allowed us to be who we were always meant to be. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. But before I do, one of the things that we have coined for ourselves, we've called ourselves sister resistors. And if that phrase does not sum up who we are, I don't know what does, right? So I want you all to help me in welcoming one of our beautiful ambassadors, Catherine Wong, and one of our, I can't even say newest members because you've been with us for like a year, but honey, I remember the day you came along and graced us with your presence. LaCrissa Granberry, if y'all have not checked out the last episode, second episode, it was episode 2. LaCrissa was with us. Y'all should definitely come check that out. But I want you all to introduce yourselves because there is so much to you all. And one of the things that we do in space is when we come together as a group, we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to get to know us. And so we say our names, pronouns if we choose. We answer the question where our feet are planted. And we also ask a question, right? And our question today is what is your favorite moment within Bird's World? I was going to say morning pages. It can be either morning pages or Bird's World. But what is your favorite moment? Because what people don't know about, as y'all think about that, because that's a hard question. Today is a really, really special day. Today, we are celebrating 3 years, y'all. I'm getting my confetti ready. Come on, confetti, right? We are celebrating 3 years of being in community with one another in the practice of morning pages.
Yep.
3. Monday through Friday. I'm in awe. I'm in shock. I'm in awe. I can't believe it has been 3 years and what we have been through together and how we've grown together. But let's just take some time. Let's introduce ourselves first. So again, it's name, pronouns if you choose. Answer the question where your feet are planted and your favorite either morning pages moment or Bird's World moment.
I'll go. I'll go. I'm LaCrissa Granberry. I have she, her pronouns. My feet are planted in Chicago, Illinois. And my favorite.
It's hard. I know. It's hard. It's hard.
It is my favorite moment.
It could be one of your favorites.
I'm going to name the one that's literally right before I became. I mean, I joined Bird's World in July of 2024. Yeah, I have to really think that through. July of 2024. But I think my favorite was the very first time I came into the morning pages room, that very first day, and there was an immediacy to like it's walking into a room, except it's Zoom, but you don't really like it feels like Zoom, but it doesn't. But walking into a room and having everybody embrace you like you've always known them and they've always known you, and that you all have been doing this forever together. And I remember my very first Zoom and being like, oh my goodness, I felt so loved and welcomed and celebrated immediately. Like there was no, let me get the temperature of this girl. There was no warm up to it. It was just in it. And I think that may be true for any time I have been in a room of morning pages where someone new comes into the space, and because I was welcomed that way, I'm just like with everybody else, like yay! And so that immediate
Absolutely.
entering into morning pages for me is probably one of my top 5. Because I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's aligned with the top 5 favorites.
That works. Yes. And it speaks a lot to, again, like you said, how many rooms do you walk into where you are greeted like that?
Yeah.
It shifts your entire being.
And it's important to know these are women I didn't know personally, and I immediately walk in and it's love and it's celebration, and it's joy, and it's honey, you've always been here even when you haven't energy. And there is something special about that. It's something magical about it. So it's very, very much so one of my favorites. All right, Catherine.
Thank you for sharing, Lakrissa.
Yes, thank you, Lakrissa, and happy anniversary to us. Aloha kako. My name is Catherine. I'm from the island of Hawaii. My feet are planted in a wintry Boston in the middle of winter. Don't ask me why I've spent almost 40 years here, but I often say that Hawaii, which again is the correct pronunciation, you pronounce every single letter. We only have 12 letters in our alphabet. And we don't terrorize here in this room. And so, again, I'm from the island of Hawaii. And one of my favorite morning pages moment was in that first year when we were only supposed to meet, and you'll hear the story later, for literally 8 weeks. And on that sort of last day of the second month, and Teresa was in the room, Regina was in the room, and Heather, and we all said, I think just very organically, that we were going to keep going. And it was incredibly organic. And, speaking to that being my favorite moment is because that is how we operate, very organically. And the fact that the decision to continue on what was supposed to be literally 8 weeks and 8 weeks only. And so I think for me, that's a favorite moment. Because I do, I remember the faces in the room, like Lakrissa says. I remember it being Heather, who very calmly but very discerningly said at the beginning of 8 weeks that she was no longer a morning person, and that she was going to be doing this with us and for us, and she. Again, we became a community, and that Teresa and Regina and I said, yeah, let's keep going. And we are just so glad we did, because what we have grown in this is 3 years, it's sinking in with me as well, is that what started out literally as a social experiment has now been something, it is an internalized community that does not have an ending and will never have an ending. And I dedicate, today to Regina for being one of the catalysts that grew this with us.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, like this idea came because we needed to build a healthy writing habit. And I'm not a morning person. And so to be in the space where January 5th, 2020 3.
3. Mm-hmm.
And to know every Monday through Friday, minus a couple of holidays, we have faithfully been together and created space for 30 minutes of writing. And then even after that 30 minutes of writing, there has been organic conversations that have literally shifted the way in which we have dealt with certain situations, right? Shifted the way in which our writing has happened. When I think about, excuse me, one of my favorite moments, because I have so many. One of my favorite moments is when we started talking about this anthology that we're actually working on. And it was the year anniversary. So this was January of 2024. Gosh, it's been 3 years. It hasn't sunk in yet, y'all. It was January of 2024. And I remember all of the folks throwing ideas at me. And it's like, we could do a calendar, we could do affirmation cards, we could do this, we could track our How I Met Heather stories, and we could turn it into an anthology. Like, it was all of these things. And I remember holding my computer and being so beautifully overwhelmed that I like leaned up against the wall and slid down the wall in disbelief of all of the things that were possible because of this space. Now, it took me about another year before it actually like sank in, maybe 2, to actually do the anthology, because I was like, where do I start? When do you do? Like, my perfectionism kicked in, right? And y'all did a really good job of getting that out of me. But that moment of, oh, wow, first of all, it's been a year. So let's celebrate that. And all of the things that could possibly come out of this is just absolutely endless. It's endless, right? So thank you so much for sharing, both Lacrissa and Catherine. Both of those moments I had the pleasure of being a part of, right? And so to see where we are today, right? To be able to hold Lacrissa's, where we at? Oh, I did it right. To be able to hold Lacrissa's full collection of poetry, right? To know that Catherine's, yours is coming soon, and I'm going to hold that book in my hand and have the biggest cry, right? To know that we have one of our other sister resistors that's releasing her book this month, right? Obedience Over Perfection. Shout out to Tamika Thompson, right?
Yes.
Knowing that I have 3 other manuscripts in my inbox as we speak, and that there are more to come, right? Like, what has been birthed out of this space has been absolutely unreal. And it's because of community, right? So with that, I kind of want to turn things over, because one of the things that we do in this space is we write letters to our sister resistors. Again, that's what we call our family, right? The collective that has come together. And Catherine is so graciously willing to read one of her letters that is going to be included in our All About Our Liberation anthology. So I am going to turn the floor over to Catherine to grace us with her words, because y'all about to see the genius that is her. Like,
Aloha, sisters I've met and sisters I have yet to meet. I'm curious, are you here at this chapter because you like to peek at the ending before diving in, or have you already journeyed through the previous pages? Go ahead, answer honestly. This is a judgment-free zone. I ask because I wonder what feelings, what images come to mind when you hear the words collective strength. Will your answer be different when you first opened this anthology compared to when you finished reading it? What stories will you want to bring forth now? In what creative form? And who in your circles will you look to for support? These questions matter to me because for years I carried my own unwritten book like a hush story. I had every intention of writing a book sooner than this. It lived on my invisible to-do list for years. My students would ask, are your stories, your interventions, your curriculum written down somewhere? When I'd say no, they'd respond, Catherine, you should write a book. We'd be the first to buy it, read it, and share it with our families and every educator we know. I heard these questions and requests over and over from former students, family, and friends. I even worked with a life coach, a gift from one of my students. At her request, I made a list of the 10 story titles and envisioned the finished manuscripts stacked on my desk, ready for binding. I was prioritizing myself and my well being, I thought, but years went by and my book was not getting written. What could possibly be getting in my way? Back then, I said my challenges were threefold: making the time, writing in isolation, and wondering how to start when I have so much I want to share. As I write this letter, I realize the through line that I had embarked on my book writing as a solitary act, not as a collective approach. The breakthrough came not in finding more time or the perfect opening line, but in realizing I needed to shift the question. Not how do I write this book, but who will write with me? That shifted, that shift changed everything. The spark, the catalyst that created our Women of Color author community came in the form of a social experiment. Heather Bird was working individually with a few of us, coaching us on our memoirs, chapbooks, and manuals. Unbeknownst to each other, we were all vehemently yesing Heather when she asked if we had set aside time during the week to write, even when we hadn't, really. Instead of berating us, Heather created a new writing space, a collective writing space, and titled it Morning Pages. It was meant to be an eight-week jumpstart to write together, build better habits, then branch off back on our own. That was 3 years ago to the day, and we are still going strong. We've grown our community of women of color and expanded the time from 30 minutes of writing to an hour or more that includes community conversations. We've discovered that we write not only more, but also with more depth, discernment, and daringness when we're together. That is what collective strength looks like in practice. It's about showing up, especially on days when you don't want to. It's about trusting you'll leave stronger than when you arrived. It's about knowing we can let suffering speak with the greatest tenderness and that we don't have to do it alone. As Grace Lee Boggs reframed June Jordan's poem when she said, "We are the leaders we've been waiting for." So I leave you with these two questions. How do we want to story our collective strength? How do we respond to this moment and create interventions that bring us together rather than break us apart? Your voice matters. Your story is needed. I invite you to find your circle, whether ours or another's, your morning pages, your collective. Write with others, write for others, write yourself whole. May this anthology be a mirror where you see yourself and a window to new possibilities. Malama Pono, which in Hawaiian means take good care.
My word. My word. Oh my goodness. LaCrystal, what is coming up for you? Because you were just you taking it all in, and we both over here making faces. Like, what's coming up for you?
I just, I think anytime the sister resistors open their mouths to speak, it just feels like rain on me. Rain on me. Like I feel like a little seed that's just being watered over and over and over and over again. And so that's what it feels like to hear that chapter and to hear it, talking about organic, like to hear it in your voice. I love the beginning. Are you peeking in, to see what the end is about, or have you actually read through? But also to talk about the collective of this sisterhood dynamic and what it gives to us to meet together and how it enriches each of our lives. I don't know. I just feel like a watered seed. I feel like a water seed.
That's a really good explanation, right? And I love the question that you posed, Catherine, in terms of it wasn't a, what was the question? It wasn't about what I needed to do or what time I needed to find. It was about who I needed to write with.
Right with, yeah.
I'm
Right.
butchering
Not how do I write this book, but who will write with me.
who will write
Mhm.
with me.
Mhm.
How did that shift for you once you started to ask that question, like for real? Like, what did that do for your own practice?
I think that it allowed me to get out of my own head and to really put my words onto the page, because the entire memoir is in my head and has been in my head. That all
Mhm.
of the, stories that my great grandmothers told me, they lived to over 100 years old. That has continued to live in me without necessarily being on any page. And so I
Mhm.
think when I reframed or reimagine the question, but also did it in the community of us, that it allowed me to be able to commit to the page, but also to be public, right? Like another, key moment with the Sister Resistors was when I read an excerpt from my memoir in public for the first time a year ago, to realize that I had never read my work ever publicly in that way.
Oh,
Mhm.
that was public because I was like, no, it was longer than that. But that was uh the retreat in which you read a chapter at the retreat, and that was the first time folks outside of myself heard an excerpt from your memoir, right?
Wow.
But to have that moment last year, that might have been 2 years ago,
It was the
because
retreat, and then it was the Igniting Ink.
there was and
Yes.
this came out
Mhm.
August of 2024. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Mhm.
to watch that growth, right, happen, has been such a beautiful journey, right? And I want to talk a little bit about how writing in community has changed the way that we operate, right? Change the way that we be, the way that we show up, the way that we slow down, even listen to ourselves when it comes to making the decisions for our projects, but just for life. How has that shifted for you all?
I'll say this. I think a lot of what Catherine just said is very true already, but I think when you do it alone, sorry for all the metaphors this evening.
Bring on the metaphors.
Go
We
for
like
it.
this,
I
baby.
love the metaphors.
Because I heard myself in my head before I heard it out loud, and I was like another one. But when you do it alone, it really does feel like driving a car that's on E. Like it's like trying to move an empty car, and it'll keep shutting off if it ain't got no gas. And there's something about community that gives you so much energy and fuel to keep going, and it feels like there's no way to run out of gas. Like I feel like I held all these poems that I wrote to myself and with myself. And when people, same thing, when people would say, "Oh, like I would love it if you had a book or you should write a book," I would brush it off because the idea of doing that alone, of putting that in a book, was like, ain't no way. But
Mm,
something about becoming part of community in July with you all of 2024, just joining the community. And like after taking your workshop and being like, okay, I have a story, and you and Regina being like, yeah, we know where you need to be, and then joining Morning Pages that July, and then being in community fueled me so much so that I believe it was November or December of 2024 that I was like, all right, Heather, I'm ready to publish my book. We'll do it in
November.
April.
It was November. Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like being in community shifted not only the possibilities of what it was, but when you talk about turning your message into a movement, like everything became, I want to say clear, because it become clear, but it also became accessible. Like I think
Mm,
about the quote today, and I think about this idea that like the power that we've been waiting for is already in us.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we are our own heroes. Like we have it. And I think there's something about being in community that shines that light
It
on the
is.
power that's
It's all of
already
us.
in you.
Yeah.
And so you begin to recognize and reconcile with yourself, like, oh yeah, thank you for like, and my goodness, does Morning Pages do that in such a unique way? Like all everybody all at once gives it to you. And so I think for me personally, I feel like I got clear and then I got so fueled that I was like running over and then I was like, I'm ready to do it right now. Let's do it. Go in 2 months. I don't know. So
And
that's
then you had folks around you who could be like, okay, let's work together and let's figure out what you need and let's pull the curtain back. But like you weren't alone. Like that
yeah,
fire had that chance to continue to burn at a healthy
yes,
rate, right? Like it didn't explode and it didn't die.
yeah,
It sustained itself for a year, Lacrissa. A
yeah,
year. You came to me in November of
yeah,
2024 and you got to hold the final copy of your book in your hand October of 2025, right?
yeah,
And so to sustain someone for an entire year is that something that's miraculous. I've been fed and sustained for 3,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we have managed to, like you said, shine the light or keep, fan the flames to keep it going. And the really
yeah,
thing that we talk about is we all don't have to be on at once.
yeah,
So when I am having a bad day, Catherine can step in. And when Catherine's having a moment, she can call Joan. And when Joan's having a moment, she can call Janet. Like there is a rippling effect that has been
yeah,
happening, you know?
yeah.
Oof. Oof.
Good. It's good.
Catherine, is there any part of like your evolution that you want to highlight in this moment?
You know what I think about as I listen to all of this, but another particular moment was, when we do writing retreats, and that the last retreat, Lacrissa was there and Regina and the three of us, and we were given a task by you, um, and you went downstairs, and we started working on the task, but then something distracted us, and so that writing in community is also about joy, because
Mm.
though we diverted from the task, we were just experiencing such incredible joy together, and it overflowed into just peals of laughter that we didn't think you could hear. And then when we thought you were coming back up the stairs, to have 3 grown adults sort of scurry and try to pretend that we were actually doing what you asked, the writing assignment you had given us, only then to figure out that it wasn't you coming up the stairs. And so that was another, peals of laughter. But it was in that moment, what I realized is that writing can also, even though there are things that we're writing about that are about trauma, that are about pain, that are about suffering, that we are letting suffering speak with the greatest of tenderness, but that
Mm.
the contradiction, the paradoxes can coexist without us being told that they can't. And I think that's the other piece about this community is it's about liberation, and it's about liberation in a way that we get to define it, that we often talk about it in our community conversations, that we don't define time by the way the world defines time or the way we've
No.
been told to define time. So, for
Mhm.
example, community conversations last as long as they last. So, for example, this morning I was on, but then I did need to go to work. And so I just transferred hosts and they were continuing to talk as I was saying that I needed to log off. But that,
Mm.
there are times where, I was on vacation, so I was able to stay on and someone else needed to. But again, there's also no judgment when someone jumps in or jumps off, right? That there's,
Mhm.
as you were saying, Lacrissa, like no matter how long or how soon you come into the room, you're always welcomed with love. And I think that in a world where as women of color that we're often spirit murdered, we're often told we don't matter, we're often told that our words are not deep enough, or they don't fit a particular peg, that
Mhm.
in this community there is none of that.
Yeah.
That there is only uplifting, or what do you need? And so, Heather, you often say, right, like, we're able to say that we're stuck without it feeling like it's a judgment against something that we lack, versus that
Mhm.
we're just stuck.
Yeah.
um, and to be able to call on one another in and out of the space, the Zoom space, to be able to work out an idea. To It could be as simple as, Regina calling you to work out 2 lines on a poem, right? Like, it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be that, you need an entire manuscript, but that's what keeps us moving, because we don't allow ourselves to stay stuck, in ways that when you work from an individualistic type of framework, it's like you got to figure out by yourself, all the time. And I
Yeah.
think that what this community does is it says, we just say no to that. That is
Yeah.
just not something that enters into this space. It
Yeah.
also means that you have had to come in doing some of your own work.
Absolutely.
That this isn't a space, like I said, where and we often talk about the ways that we've been conditioned, but it's to be able to recognize that level of conditioning and to know that we can exist beyond that.
Yeah. And that it
Can
does
I?
not serve.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, it's as you were speaking, Catherine, something dawned on me. Talk about spaces that really have unconditional love, support, cheerleading, wisdom, knowledge. Like, I think I am like prime example of somebody whose schedule is often all over the place. And I think there are times where I've been able to like super commit. Like, I got some
Mhm.
months and I'm gonna be with y'all every day or every week that I can. And then I'm gone for like 2 or 3 months. And then I hop back in a room randomly one day, and there like it's like no beat has been skipped. No love
Mhm.
is lost. No, like, there's
Mhm.
still so much love and support. And I think that's another thing for me that makes the room special, because there are no conditions. You aren't um punished is the thing. I know you're not punished for missing a couple weeks or missing a month, or for life happening,
Right,
Mhm.
and not being
right.
able, like, you're still just loved and supported in the same way, 100% every time you enter into the space.
Yeah.
I was thinking about
Absolutely.
that. It's such an unconditional loving space,
Mhm.
a supportive space.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to find too. Talk about, how we've been conditioned, and sometimes you often find spaces it's like, oh, well, if you can't do this, you can't be a part of our supportive space or our safe space. You can't show up every day. If you can't da da da. And
Mhm.
so to have a safe space where the love truly is unconditional, and it's like, honey, when you can, we gonna have you.
Oh, yes. Right? Like, we get
Yeah.
to show up as we are, right? One of the
That.
winning lines that we have, when people are talking about, "What time do you all meet in the morning?" Is like, yes, we get up at 6:30 in the morning to write on Zoom. It has been happening for the past 3 years. But we wake up in our bonnets, our rollers, our robes, our caps, bad breath, and all. You can't smell it. The screen is here, right? Like, so it's one of those things of, not only do you get to show up as who you are
Yeah.
without having um the weight of having to try to present yourself in a certain way. To start off your day that way already allows for you to release what's already within you, right? And when I think about who I was when I first started this space and who I am now, the level of growth that has taken place because of the women in this room is something that I'm still trying to unpack, right? And so when thinking about how, when I started this space, yes, granted, it was for the people that I was working with that needed those individual um touch points. But they all had this one thing in common. I'm like, okay, let's bring us together. Why are we doing this all separately? Right. And I did this for them. But when I think about where I was in January of 2023, how professionally I was still trying to figure some things out for the business. I was still trying to figure out what our foundational pieces were and how we were going to make it happen. But personally, I was not okay. I was the thread that I had been hanging on by for the past 6 months before that had broken. But I was still showing up because I felt like that's what I needed to do, but I was not whole. Right? And so to think about how I created a space for other people, but I benefited from that space in a way that has transformed how I move. Like the level, my patience for things has shifted because I've shared a room with Catherine. Her level of patience with me over the past 3 years, when she has told me something and I still hadn't heard it yet, and it still ain't sunk in yet, and yet she still tells me, oh, she's like, you're going to hear it eventually, right? Me being able to experience the level of joy from Lacrissa and from Joan, right? Really being able to understand the level of work that goes into a poem from Regina and how unconditional love shows up through the way that she showed up in spaces, right? Being able to watch one of our other sisters, Shauna, say, I'm going to write this book at the beginning of 2025. And here we are with a manuscript in our hands, shows that all of this is possible. The possibility model grows, right? So I'm just so thankful for each and every one of you all who has shown up, who has continued to believe, who has told others about the space. It took us an entire year and a half to figure out how to even begin to explain what this space is to others, because it is not something that you see every day. But it is something that is so necessary for our own liberation. Again, not only on the page, but how we make decisions and move in person. And so for anyone who is, for the folks that are here, for Catherine and Lacrissa, I want to thank you over and over and over again until I have no more breath left in these lungs. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for allowing me to rest when I needed to rest so that I could keep going. Thank you for your laughter and your dance and your joy and your vulnerability. Anyone who is watching, I see you in the chat, right? Thank you, JR, for acknowledging, JR Mackey, thank you for acknowledging my goofy face at Printers Row. Teresa, thank you for always feeding into me and believing in me, and the way in which you, what's the word, when prophesize where this is going and how I'm watching that come true on a regular basis. Girl, you have been with me for 4 years, right? There's so many people that I could thank. And it's a testament to how you can share your dreams with other people. They tell you not to share your dreams until you've reached or whatever. I've never believed why. You just not sharing your dreams with the right people. Get yourself the right people. Because every single time I've shared my dream, everyone here and folks that you don't even see has helped me make it realize, has allowed me to hold it. And we do that for every single sister that steps foot into our Zoom room. If you have a dream, if you want to make something possible, we make a phone call. We hop on another Zoom with you. We debunk the negative thoughts that you have within yourself, right? We show you on a daily basis how your voice literally can transform so many spaces. So I could go on and on and on. This celebration is special. And Catherine, I want to thank you for dedicating this celebration to one of our sisters that we lost last year, who has given us so much. And this would not be possible if it wasn't for her.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
At all. Like not even like a little bit of like this would not be possible if it wasn't for her. So we are constantly holding her and we are constantly channeling her and knowing that she is giving us all that she got from where she is every day. We are reminded of the power that we all hold and the magic that we hold that keeps us going. Right. Whew. I said I told y'all I was gonna cry eventually. But we're not afraid of little tears. Yes, she does, Teresa. Teresa says she lives through
Lives
us.
through us.
Um, so
We
I
are
want
her
to,
legacy.
yes, yes, like every single day there is something that pops up where Regina is just with us on a daily basis. And so I thank her. I thank our family for sharing her with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because our families sometimes they're like, you again, y'all getting together again, right? Like we spend so much time together. We are family, right? Um, so before we head out, I want to ask you all just one question to kind of close us out, right? As we think about legacy, as we think about the lives that we have touched and have touched us and has allowed us to move differently, what would you say? Why would you say this conversation about our liberation is important in the way in which we do it here?
You know what? I think it's what you just said when you shared about sharing dreams, how you debunk that statement that you can't share it until it's already done, because you're just not sharing it with the right person. I think conversations like this is important to know. How do you find community, the right communities that truly help you grow, elevate, liberate, that liberate you and allow you to continue to just thrive in this world and not just survive in it. Um, and I think that's
Mhm.
why these conversations are important, because somebody somewhere needs to know that it's possible. That like
Mhm.
you might just be in the wrong community. Find your people and find the right people. And that safe spaces exist to truly just be part of and have sisterhood and have good gracious I just have a place where you can get poured into in every which way. And so I think that's why I think we have these spaces so that we are continued or we are able to continue to liberate, like not just each other but within this world, so just continue to thrive.
I would build on that because I do think that we deserve to thrive and not just survive. And in my spirit of threes, I would say that these spaces are important for sort of three reasons. One is that our intuition is incredibly strong. And it is our gift. It is our superpower. And so how do we pour into ourselves? We pour into by listening to our intuition. Our intuitiveness allows us to manifest. The other is that we are incredibly introspective and that we're introspective as a collective. Because again, the world wants to push us apart because the more apart we are, the less powerful we are. And so that's where the hope lies, is us coming together, is that there's power in that collective. And the last is that what folks that can see is that we are intergenerational, that, there is not, there is no one specific age group, that it's the intergenerational collective that also, I think, allows us to be, in Hawaiian, we use the word aloha, which again, in the translation of aloha in Hawaiian, ha means breath and alo means presence. And so the fact that, we start with breath every single time we're together, it is about being fully present to each other. And so this space for me is also incredibly vital because it is the expression. Aloha is a value. It's not sort of this tourized greeting, that it really is a value. And it's a value that can show up in spaces that, again, truly value the power of the collective.
My word. My word. You all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being on the journey. Thank you all who has joined us, who have been in the comment section. I appreciate y'all so much. I see you, Naima. I see you, Teresa, Shauna, J.R. Mackey. We had someone earlier. Who was that? Francis Harris. I see you. Thank you so much for being here. If you're watching the replay, let us know that you were here so that we know. And if this conversation has been something that speaks to you, I definitely want to invite you to join us in 2 weeks. Again, share with others, tag them, bring them in on this conversation around our healing, our writing, our remembering, and our liberation. I also want to make sure that if this is something that has spoken to you in any way, if you have felt this in your body in any way, and know that 2026 is the year where you are ready to start writing your book, I want to invite you to RSVP for our next virtual open house that we have. We have open houses that happen every first and third Tuesdays of the month. This is a space for you to come in, meet other community members, write in community, and then learn more about how we can take your message and turn it into a movement. Thank you all so much. I am so full. I am so full. My word. We're gonna decompress after this. So make sure, if y'all have not already subscribed to my Substack, make sure you check that out, because we're gonna be having a behind the scenes clip that y'all can only find on Substack. So make sure y'all check that out. But until next time, with all the love and liberation in my heart, I want to let you know that I see you. You are not alone. And I want to invite you to come fly with us. Until next time, see y'all soon. Bye.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, zhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.